Hello, everyone. This is Raj. Hope you all are doing great today. Today, we're going to be talking about how to form quality goals. This is going to be a topic that will be very relevant throughout all of the class sessions that we're going to have together. Right now, I am at my uncle's house, and so I'm going to be a little bit more quieter than usual. I'm staying in a guest room. You can see this is actually my grandma in this picture up here. So I'm going to be a little bit quieter, but I'm still happy to make these videos. So let's start. First, a little bit about how these videos are structured, because this is the first video in this course. So as I've said, I prefer having live sessions over asynchronous videos since I'm able to make the class interactive and be able to ask well questions throughout the class. To make, at least try to make a similar experience, what I've done in these videos is to ask you all questions throughout the video. And so anytime I ask any of these sorts of questions, I invite you to pause, think about your response, and then unpause and view the answer that I put up on the next slide. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about how to form quality goals. We're going to use this method here. It's called SMART. So each letter stands for a specific strategy or tip to make your goals that you're going to set more effective. So, first, before we get into this, why are we talking about how to set better goals? Over the next few weeks, you're going to learn many, many different strategies for improving your success in college, right? And to maximize your success, we need to be better at forming goals, right? Anytime that we try to implement any of these strategies, it comes with a goal that we want to apply. As such, learning how to better set goals and better plan to meet these goals will help you implement the strategies that we're going to talk about in the next classes in the next few weeks. I would say that this topic about how to set quality goals and the next video's topic on habits are going to be probably the most important topics we talk about in this entire course. And the reason why is this topic of setting goals is going to be relevant to pretty much everything that we'll talk about in the next few weeks, as well as plenty of other topics or areas of life outside of college that you want to get better at. For instance, if you want to get better at being more fit and healthy, that also involves goals that the strategies in this video will help you achieve as well. So now we'll talk about this goal or this method of setting goals, SMART. So each letter stands for a specific tip. The S stands for specific. And so this means when you're setting a goal, you want to have a specific action that you want to take, right? So for instance, if I want to have a goal of improving my focus in class, uh, just saying that I want to improve my focus isn't really specific. There's no specific action that I can take. But if I say something like, I want to sit in the front of the class, or I want to turn my phone off so I can give my entire attention to the teacher, that is a specific action that I can take to improve my focus. The M stands for measurable. This means that we want to be able to track our progress with numbers. This can sometimes be relevant, sometimes it doesn't really matter. An example of this could be if I'm in a class and I want to study for the class for an exam, I may say that I want to have 3 sessions a week to study for the exam, right? Where me specifying that I want to have 3 specific sessions makes it to where it's more concrete and I can hold myself accountable to say I have to have 3 sessions instead of having maybe one or two. The A stands for attainable. This means that you want to make your goal realistic, right? So, an example is that if I go from like, maybe I always go to sleep at like 12 a.m., very late at night, and I want to start to go to sleep at an earlier time, it would be very unrealistic to try and go to sleep at like 7 p.m., right, from 12 a.m. Instead you'd want to have a goal that says, I want to start sleeping at like 10 p.m. maybe. And then you would want to, if you want to go to bed earlier, then you would work your way up to an earlier time. The R stands for relevant, which just means that you want to make sure that your goals relate to your future goals and your future values, right? And then the T stands for time bound. So you want to make a specific deadline for when the goal that you are going to set can be accomplished, right? So for instance, if I want to study better for an exam, I want to, let's say, use flashcards to improve my studying. I want to, using this strategy, I want to say that I will, in the next week or in the next day, start using flashcards, right? Instead of just saying, I will use flashcards. I'm not specifying a specific concrete date that I can then hold myself accountable to. And if I don't set that date, then I might be making excuses and say, oh well, I did not use flashcards this day because I just didn't feel like it, or I just felt very tired or something like that. Setting a specific deadline makes us more accountable to forming these goals or setting these goals. So now I'll go through some examples of bad goals and improved goals using this SMART method. So an example of a bad goal is just saying, I want to do better in class. It's like, we all want to do better in class. How can we specifically do so? So a smarter goal is for every day next week, I will spend 30 minutes a day to quiz myself on my notes for the two most challenging classes, right? So this is much more specific. I am specifying the way that I will do or the method that I will do better in class, right? With quizzing myself. I am making myself be time bound to this goal. So I'm saying every day for next week. And I am setting a measurable goal for myself, right? So I'm saying I will spend 30 minutes a day instead of just saying I will just quiz myself, right? That could mean anything, right? It could mean 5 minutes a day, it could be 10 minutes, it could be an hour. 30 minutes makes it to where it's much more clear in my mind and I'm able to hold myself accountable to this goal. So this is an example of a much better goal that you're going to want to set for any sort of strategy that you want to implement in the future. So another example, a bad goal to set is I will better understand difficult texts. So again, this goal is bad, not because this is a bad intention, right? Obviously, it's good to want to better understand difficult texts. We want to just improve how we go about this goal. So a smarter goal is for every day next week, I will use the SQ3R method to read the texts of my two most challenging courses. So we'll talk about this in the future, actually next week. The SQ3R method is just a method for improving how you read texts. And so this goal is much better because, again, I'm more specific. I am saying that I will understand difficult text by using a specific method that is more effective. I'm making this time bound. I'm saying that in the next week, I am going to be accomplishing this goal, and I'm making this measurable, right? So I'm saying that for the two most challenging courses, I will implement this strategy. And also, this is, at least depending on where you are at, this is seems like a very attainable and realistic goal, right? I mean, for using this method for just two classes seems like a pretty attainable, pretty realistic goal, not too far out. So now, I would like you all to take a second, pause the video, and think about how you can improve this goal. I will have better focus in college. Think about how you could make this into a smarter goal, perhaps with a more specific action that you can take or something else that is part of the SMART goal strategies. All right, so now I'm going to show you an example of a better goal. So one example, there can be many examples. One example is that over the next week, starting tomorrow, I will turn off my phone when doing classwork every day. Right, so again, this has a much more specific action that I can take. I'm going to turn off my phone. It is time bound, it's saying over the next week, and it is measurable. I'm saying that every day I'm going to turn off my phone. So this is a much better goal. So now let's do one more example. So I'm going to ask you guys to again pause your video, take a second to make this into a better goal. So I will take better notes in college. How can we make this into a goal that is more specific, that has more measurable progress, that is maybe more realistic? All right, so an example that I have here for a smarter goal is I will ask the professor when I'm confused with the material to improve my notes during 25% of my classes starting this week. So this is a pretty lengthy goal, but it is much more specific and much more measurable, right? So I'm saying that I will take better notes because I'm going to ask the professor with the material that I'm confused by. And I'm making this pretty realistic. I'm just saying that this is going to happen for only 25% of my classes, so maybe one out of four or one out of five classes. So this is an example of a much better goal. So yeah, this is how to improve your goal setting. Hope to see you guys in the next video.